Since January 1963, Charlie Watts, drummer, artist, husband, father, farm owner, jazz buff, style icon, and a quiet, soulful man of sharp wit, has rejected the hedonistic delights and survived the tumultuous travails associated with being a member and shareholder of the world's greatest rock and roll band. In a word, he's been cool. By the time the Rolling Stones' We Love You hit the airwaves in August 1967, the summer of love was fading fast. Even then, 50 years ago, there was a sense that Charlie Watts would be quite happy if his world had never moved beyond the black and white Britain of the late 1950s and early 60s, with his typically stoic expression as likely to be broken by a disdaining rolling of the eyes, as brightened by a beatific smile. He is really like some anachronism of a bygone era. That's not to say he isn't hip. Charlie has always been cool, and here is why. No Charlie, no Stones. Let's get this one right up front, if only because everyone in the Stones is quick to remind us of the reality. There was Mick Jagger's shout-out "Charlie's good tonight," and there's Keith Richards' constant reminder that without Charlie there would be no Stones. Ronnie Wood confirms the same in the band's tip-of-the-tongue documentary, Charlie's the Engine. We don't go anywhere without the engine. That's because Charlie's drumming is authentically swung vintage-style stuff, that is, as the band's 2016 Back to the Roots album Blue Lonesome reminds us, propelling a group of 1940s vintage London lads in a 1960s vintage rhythm and blues band. Rob Wallis of drumming video originators Hudson Music may not have dissected Charlie's drumming the way he has with the likes of Steve Gadd and Steve Smith, but he is a fan. Charlie's got rock-solid time. His playing swings and his shuffles are great because of his comfort with jazz ride patterns. Without him, the Stones would be a completely different sounding band with a very different feel. He plays for the music. Charlie's playing has been lauded and lambasted by those who claim to know what constitutes good drumming from bad, but detractors tend to overlook the reality that being the right drummer for a band is about being 98% compatible on both the playing and personal levels. Would the Stones benefit from furious flammadiddles or hand-foot fills in brown sugar? I was brought up on the theory that the drummer is an accompanist, Charlie noted in a 2008 video interview titled "If It Ain't Got That Swing." I don't like drum solos. I admire some people that do them, but generally I prefer drummers playing with the band. The challenge with rock and roll is the regularity of it. My thing is to make it a dance sound. It should swing and bounce. Listen to 19th Nervous Breakdown, urges former Zildjian AR director John DeChristopher. He swings like Elvin Jones. I like to think that at a point drummers get the less is more approach of Charlie and Ringo, and understand that good, solid time and a great feel are first and foremost to being a great drummer. He does it all on a small kit. No multi-tom setups, double bass drums, gongs, or drum machines. By the late 60s, even Ringo had gone up to 5 drums with his Maple Ludwig kit for Let It Be. But Charlie most notably with his early Ludwigs, followed by a black Gretsch kit, and for many years now, the 1957 round badge Maple Gretsch set he purchased from a backline rental firm. Charlie's probably got the smallest drum kit in rock and roll, Bill Wyman told St. Louis radio station KSHE 95. Drummers today have about 50 or 60 items, he's got about 7, he's an economist. Cymbal-wise, DeChristopher notes that Charlie doesn't endorse Zildjian or any cymbal company. He plays what sounds and feels most comfortable to him. He uses his hi-hats and no-name 18-inch B8 alloy flat ride for everything, whether it's the Stones or his own projects. He was the first Stone to officially marry and become a father. Charlie married Shirley Ann Shepard, a Royal College of Art sculpture student, in October 1964. I was with Alexis Corner, and she came to the very first rehearsal 1961 that I had with him, Charlie told the Mirror. That's how I met her. In contrast to Charlie's mild personality, Shirley was strong-willed and outspoken, said Jagger's then-girlfriend Chrissy Shrimpton in Philip Norman's 2012 book Mick Jagger. The rule was no girls, but Shirley would nearly always go. We weren't to go into the studio while the band was recording, but she decided she was going and took me. Mick was furious and ordered us out, but Shirley hissed at me, "Don't move," so we sat there with Mick pulling faces at us through the control room glass. According to Charlie, times have changed. She has known Mick and Keith for many years and loves both, particularly Mick, who is Mr. Smoothie, a real charmer. He's a well-dressed man. Richards may be dubbed the coolest man alive, but when it comes to looking stylishly sharp, Charlie is the man. And though his love of style was inspired by the jazz greats, he claims his father, who would take him along when visiting his tailor, was the real inspiration. British GQ noted that Watts almost never stopped smiling when talking about music and clothes. He told the magazine, "I have about 200 suits in London and a few in Devon. I have a very traditional mode of dress, Old English. I go to all the shops, wherever I am, but nothing fits me cause I'm too small." And he doesn't like photo shoots. "I've always felt out of place with the Stones, just the way I look. I'll have shoes on and they've got trainers. I hate trainers, even if they're fashionable." Taking note of his sartorial savvy, Vanity Fair added Charlie to its International Best Dressed List 2002, while GQ elected him into its World's Best Dressed Men of the Year in 2012.